And we welcome you back to the start of the second half here on JEDTV here in Boone Grove, Indiana. 14-0 lead for Lake Station over Boone Grove. I'm Kyle Mathas, joined by Isaiah Gransberry. And Isaiah, I want your thoughts about that first half dominated by Lake Station, showing off why they're 5-2 this season and why they clinched their first winning season since '98.
Well, this Lake Station team is scrappy. They are scrappy, as many of them were, and we talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast. With Lake Station being who they are, they not necessarily have had bad teams. They just played against some really good opponents. With, you think about all the guys like Mark Rowland and David Solon 10 years ago and whatnot. I'm just bringing up a random name of a friend, but he there's been a lot of good players that come through this Boone Grove program and through the GSSC, and Lake Station has really just not been able to put a full season together, but it looks like this year they're going to get it going, and maybe even for the rest of this game, but we'll see. I think Boone Grove has something to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, they still got 24 minutes, so see if they can do what they did in the first half so dominantly, run the football with those three backs, including Oscar Alderson, who's been the star in this game, David Parker, and Caden McNeil. A squib kick taken at the 37 by Lake Station, and we are underway here in this second half. Lake Station gets the football first. We'll see if Boone Grove's defense can turn it up a notch, because they need it right now. They just have not been able to stop Lake Station. Only once did they force a punt, but every other time has been touchdown.
Yes, and they were really close on that same drive that Lake Station had to punt.
Mm-hmm.
They were really close to forcing a safety on that drive as well. And so just try to come up with some points or hope for a Lake Station miscue. We also talked about it. Lake Station has a lot of players going both ways this game, so that could play a factor here in the second half.
Parker with a QB keep. Bounces his way upfield and gets near the 45-yard line. It's also cool, some of those players out in the field on both sides, honestly. I mean, some of them have pink clothing on, like pink socks, pink armbands. You got pink towels out there, just kind of with breast cancer awareness month. We saw that in the NFL for the longest time, and not many people do it anymore. I mean, we see Devontae Smith on the Eagles do it with his cleats, but it's cool to see them doing that here, both teams doing that. As Parker takes the direct snap once again, bounces to the outside, great blocking by Alderson. And it'll be third down and short here.
Yeah, third down, and Boone Grove playing with a little bit of fire to start the second half. I'm sure that speech when you're down at halftime of a senior night is usually pretty impactful. So I'm sure Coach had some really good and wise words to say to his team, and we're seeing it so far. We'll see if they could get the stop on third down.
Well, they were the first team back out on the field after halftime, so they were ready to come back out. Third down and 5 for Lake Station. Ball at the 43. An end around to Alderson. They'll use their main man tonight, but Alderson's not able to get free. Brought down nicely on the play by Montez, who comes in and makes a big tackle to force the fourth down. So
big
now,
stop.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Do they punt or do they go? Because if Lake Station picks up a first down here with a fourth down conversion, that could just take the wind out of the sails of Boone Grove, but they're going to punt with David Parker.
Punt allegedly. I mean, this is...
allegedly. We saw a fake punt attempted earlier by Boone Grove, which was unsuccessful. The difference between that and this, though, is that it was fourth down and 15 for Boone Grove when they faked the punt. It's now only fourth and about 7 here as Jack Neiman is back to receive. That one might have been deflected a little bit.
I think it was.
As it bounces inside the 40 and will be picked up at the 38-yard line by Lake Station. Great pressure by Boone Grove, and they've got some pretty decent field position here nearing midfield to start this next drive.
Wolves take over first and 10.
So we will see what Sal Montez can do. Made a big tackle on the last possession on defense. Now he's got to turn that defense into offense here. We know defense wins championships, but got to get a little offense going every now and then, too. He was more of a backup rusher last season in the running back position, but he had to step into the main role at the graduation of so many starters last season, and he's going to get the direct carry. Montez powering forward, and there's a first down out to midfield for Boone Grove. So finally, that offensive line probably got a stern talking to during the halftime huddle, but they finally give Montez some space.
They probably did, and that's the Montez we remember for much of this season, just plowing his way through, and I'm sure he has some high emotions trying to get back on track for his average this half.
Montez spun down and brought down quickly by McNeil. So Caden McNeil flies in the backfield as quickly as he can, unblocked. Brings him down at the original line of scrimmage, no gain. I mean, Sal Montez has been such a great part of this team. Has won the Player of the Game award over the last 2 weeks when Boone Grove won their last 2 games over River Forest and Whiting. So he's obviously been a big part of this offense and their 2-game winning streak. And obviously you can tell when he doesn't do well, the entire team struggles. And right now the scoreboard is indicative of that. 2nd down and 10. Blitz off the edge. Montez gets it out quickly, and it's almost picked off. Willie Banks almost had a pick there at midfield. Not able to get that one in the breadbasket.
Yeah, I think that was just a matter of him thinking his receiver ran the slant route a little bit sooner, and so the timing was just slightly off as his receiver trips up and gives the Lake Station an opportunity to take advantage, as you just saw in the replay.
Yeah, when is desperation time for Boone Grove? 8:29 to go in the third. 3rd down and 10. How do they go about this? Montez with a direct run. Sal Montez into the secondary. Gets free. Montez down the sideline. Makes a couple men miss and gets down to the 20-yard line. How desperately and how badly Boone Grove needed that play. They're in the red zone.
Big
we got
run.
a flag. Actually, hold that thought. This
in,
could be a massive flag, Isaiah, if it goes against Boone Grove.
It's in the territory of blocking the back unless it was illegal hands to the face. So
if we wait for the call here, which might just negate the big run from Montez here. Wow. Holding on Boone Grove. They would have had the ball at the 20, and they'll have to back up, and it'll be about a 3rd and, I believe, about 3rd down and 5 here. So, I mean, you've got to think after that play. A lot of confidence here for Boone Grove now, but I think this is 4-down territory no matter what happens on this 3rd down play.
Yes, it is. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing Boone Grove play very aggressive rest of the half and probably keep things simple because, as we mentioned, this is a potential sectional matchup for both teams. You know, sectional 33.
Flag down. This could be a false start here. It is going to be a false start. Boone Grove getting a little antsy, trying to be the lead blocker for Montez on that design QB run, and they'll lose 5 yards. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Yeah, those mistakes are just adding up. They're piling up, but it's never too late. I mean, they've been moving the ball really well this drive. So just keep on putting that together. They've obviously found something that they could cue off of at halftime and making adjustments. Just got to limit the mistakes.
So they're in their own territory, so if they can't get this, is it still 4-down territory? We'll have to find out here. Timeout, I believe, called by Boone Grove at the last second. So we'll take one, too. Boone Grove on a 3rd and 10 coming up. They need this play desperately. 14-0 lead for Lake Station when we return. Big 3rd down coming up here. 3rd down and 10 for Boone Grove as we welcome you back. 14-0 lead for Lake Station. And Montez goes empty with trips to his left. It's a design quarterback run here for Montez. Once again, cuts up the middle, but he'll come up a yard short of the line to gain. Maybe mark that 2 yards short. So 4th and 2. This is definitely a go-for-it situation. All hands on deck right here.
No doubt. And with the way things have been going, I wouldn't imagine they do anything else but put Kyle Mathas either behind center or in the shotgun and just let him go to that right side, which has been paying lots of dividends for Boone Grove here in the second half early.
Yeah, I was about to mention they've pretty much only been running to the right side in this half so far after they mixed it up in the first half, but that defensive line on the left side is struggling. Man in motion, Montez flipped to the outside for Niemand. He's not going to get there. And Lake Station stands tall on 4th and 2. Montez wants a face mask, but they're not going to call it. And the Eagles take over with 5:55 to play in the third quarter. What a stand by Lake Station.
Yeah,
I think in that instance, Isaiah, they probably should have went with the direct quarterback run. They decided to get tricky and go with the option.
Well, if you see on the screen, the coaches were talking to Montez. They were telling him to cut up the field. They were looking for him to cut up because Lake Station's DNs are shooting up the field, expecting Boone Grove to try to get wide up the outside, which opens up that lane toward the inside. So I'm sure that's going to be an adjustment that this Boone Grove team makes in this next drive.
Well, they're definitely running out of time. They got to get a stop here as McNeil's in motion. It's a fumble. McNeil picks it up and gets hit hard. Ball's free on the ground. Who's got it here? It might be back to Lake Station here, and I think it is. Lake Station recovered the football. McNeil fumbled it on the exchange between him and Parker. And it's actually starting to rain outside, I believe, as well, which could actually make things more tricky.
Yeah, I'm sure that's, none of the players, or I don't think the center has a towel. And so I'm sure he wasn't expecting the ball to be a little slippery right there. And obviously the snap timing was off, and luckily they lived to see another down.
Loss of 7 on that play, 2nd and 17. We got a false start here on Lake Station as well, I believe. Man, both D-lines have actually done a great job kind of getting that offensive line to flinch on both sides of the football. So that 2nd and 17 now becomes a 2nd and 22. A very long way to go here for the Eagles, trying to improve to 6 and 2. Remember, Coach Glenn Goley's goal for this season was to finish over 500, and they have a chance to well exceed that expectation. They've done an amazing job so far this year, looking for a big win here against Boone Grove. It's going to be a pass for Parker. He's running out of time and decides to take off himself. Look at the running room for David Parker. Into the space. David Parker in a foot race. Keeps his balance. David Parker with an explosive play.
Wow. Look at those wheels. David Parker, the multi-sport athlete for Lake Station, just shows why he's one of the best athletes in the school.
My goodness, he's been so good at running the football. That was a pass play, but he decided to scramble. And that could be, honestly, the knockout punch this early if Boone Grove can't figure things out offensively. And they're going to go for 2. What a big touchdown. That was about a little less than 80 yards, about 77-yard touchdown scamper for Parker, which brings him over 1,000 total rushing yards on the season.
It is a historic season for that young man and a historic season for this team overall. I mean, they've never reached over 8 wins in a season.
And Alderson now gets in on the 2-point conversion. Those Lake Station fans on the far sideline have a lot to cheer about as we take a look at this play again. Look at the wheels for David Parker. Now they're up 22-0. Lake Station trying to move to 6 and 2 with the win over Boone Grove. 22-0. Lake Station feels like it's not enough yet. They want to score more points here, and they'll bring their defense back out onto the field, hoping to stop Boone Grove. Crazy pick, or a kick, cannot be picked up until the last second by Josh Wilkins. Isaiah, I want you to tell what you just told me during the break, how crazy this season has been for how historic the season has been for Lake Station.
So John Harrell's website on indianafootball.com goes back for Lake Station back to 1994. Many teams it goes back 30 years prior, and so 1994, since 1994, Lake Station has only reached over 5 wins 3 times in that span. That was 97, 98, and 99. And that 98 season was when they went 8-5. The last time they finished well over 500 in the season. And then 99, they finished 5-5. And so, obviously, standing 6-2.
Yeah, they have a chance to do that.
Yeah.
They haven't had a winning record since that 98 season. As the end around to Jack Niemand, and he's wrestled down by McNeil. And I mean thrown down to the ground on that play for a big loss of about 4 or 5 yards. Take a look at this again. Look at the way McNeil shoots into the backfield and just throws him down. My goodness. Lake Station, obviously, they've lost 9 in a row to Boone Grove, but they feel like they're
looking like the big brother.
Yeah, they look like the big brother, and I feel like they were disrespected coming into this game. Boone Grove were the favorite, or was the favorite in this game.
Yep.
And they believe like they should have been the favorite.
They should have, and I have to give it to Boone Grove, though. They're just a couple plays, a couple less miscues away from at least getting on the scoreboard in this game.
Well, Montez is brought down by Devian Henry. He was pressured off the edge on that play immediately by Alderson, and it's a 3rd down and about 15 here coming up for the Wolves. So Montez is going to have to air this out, you'd imagine, on 3rd and very long. He just hasn't had the time to throw the football tonight. But we just saw David Parker try to throw the football and then scrambled for a near 80-yard touchdown. Montez over the middle. Pass is caught out in space. Can he get the first down? Not quite for Thomas, the tight end. Caleb Thomas with his 2nd catch of the year. It's going to be 4th down and about 7 here, so I'd imagine they have nothing to lose, Boone Grove. They probably go for this. Well, actually, I take that back. They're going to send out the punting unit. Maybe it's not go for 4th down on everything yet. Maybe that's the 4th quarter, but Montez will punt. Got to imagine Lake Station will be ready for a fake here. And it looks like standing back to receive this punt, I think, is David Parker. He has some serious speed. We saw it on the previous play. That was almost blocked by Alderson. Flies out of bounds on the near side of the 45. So Lake Station once again going to have impeccable field position to start their next drive. They'll mark this at about the 40. Well, what does Boone Grove do here, Isaiah, to stop the running game for David Parker, who's been, and honestly, for Oscar Alderson as well, they've both been on fire tonight?
It's just really a couple missed assignments. I mean, they've done an overall good job in containing Lake Station's big playability, but if they want to have a chance to give their offense a chance to come back in this game, they're going to need to just hone down, just pay attention to the assignment and stay consistent. Lake Station, they're doing a lot of trickery with the multi-snap, misdirect snap, and not multi-snap, just misdirect snap. And so they just have to pay attention and be ready to go. Trust their coaches, trust the assignment.
Well, with all that misdirection, sometimes Lake Station just likes to go simple, and David Parker rushes up the middle for about 2. But for Boone Grove, this is honestly the biggest possession of the game for them. They need a stop. They need to get the football back before the 4th quarter, you'd imagine. And with this rushing offense for Lake Station, that's going to be a tall task, not only with the way they run the clock down, but also with the way that they extend drives. So 2nd and 7 at the 46. Now they'll give it to Alderson this time. Running left, Alderson. Bringing his way up the sideline for a first down. There's a flag that comes in the middle of the play. Looks like it's going to be on Lake Station. And I think from the way that he just talked to the ref, James Alcox might be guilty of a hold here. Number 60. As we await the call. Looks like it was in the vicinity of a hold. And it is. Looks like Alcox got over to the sideline there and just held a little too long to try to protect Alderson. But, I mean, Alderson just looks like he's going to get bottled up initially on the play and still somehow manages to pick up 4 or 5 yards after contact most of the time.
Yeah, and just a little bit excited, overly aggressive, and they get a minor setback. Still second down with the way they've been moving the ball in this third quarter, second half. I don't think that's going to make too much of an impact for them.
Boone Grove showing blitz on 2nd and 13, and they send it with 6 rushers as Parker gets to the outside again. David Parker with some speed and is able to get a first down with a gain of 14. They sent the blitz, Boone Grove, this time, and it just did not work out for the Wolves. Ben Remmer was trying to get the head start there, wasn't able to get there quick enough. He's in that linebacker position.
I think Lake Station is just trying to pad Parker's stats at this point, getting a holding call right there. He said, wait, I'm trying to get 1,200, 1,500 yards. Be one of the leading rushers in the area.
Yeah. He hasn't gotten a Player of the Game award yet at least from Max Preps this season, but he might be on track to get an award from this game right here, the way he's playing, along with his teammate Alderson, who has the football here running to the right. Alderson with a big block, breaks a tackle inside the 30. Alderson able to pick up about 13 yards on that run alone. And a huge. Did you see that block on that play?
Yeah,
that was
I saw that collision.
Let's see if we can see that here on the replay again.
Montez and Parker making a big-time collision, and almost like a wrestling move right there, really. But nevertheless, they step up and dap hands. That's what sportsmanship is all about here for Indiana High School football.
3 in the backfield again on 1st and 10. That was an IU Northwest first down, by the way. Here's the direct snap to McNeil, running left. Caden McNeil, who's made a couple big plays defensively, and he's able to pick up about 6 yards right there. I mean, McNeil has been that guy tonight on defense for Lake Station. He's gotten in the backfield and brought down Montez in multiple occasions. I mean, it just doesn't seem like Lake Station's tired. I mean, they have most of their team plays both sides of the football, and it feels like it's the first quarter and they just came out for their first drive.
This is very impressive, and so they do not look like a Lake Station, a typical Lake Station team. I mean, this is a team that obviously they'll have their cards shaped against them, but looking ahead, that sectional, going up against Indran, if you can, Indran, who has a lot of players that go both ways, if you can go toe-to-toe with them for a little bit, just give yourself an opportunity, such as Munster did a couple weeks ago when Mike Fleshman and I were on the call in that game, limit your mistakes, we could be seeing an upset.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking with a guy a couple weeks ago about, I believe the year was 2011, maybe 2010, when Indran had a really good football team, like amazing. And they had a great regular season, went into the first round, played a Wheeler team that ended up beating them, upsetting them. And because they kept the game low scoring, Wheeler played a clean game. And, I mean, that's something that one of these teams, whether it's Boone Grove, whether it's Lake Station, I mean, everybody's the underdog with Indran.
Mm-hmm. So McNeil gets to the half-yard line. Lake Station looks like they want to run a play before the fourth quarter with 5 seconds to go. Philly special type play. McNeil gets the direct snap, and he's in for the touchdown. The brotherly shove here in Northwest Indiana works out for Lake Station, and they extend this lead here late in the third. Just get up under center. We see teams in the National Football League, most notably last year the Los Angeles Rams and the Washington Commanders, not able to stop that play. And when you got a guy like Kanan McNeil in the backfield and he goes under center, it's hard to stop. They're going for 2. Try to make it 30-0. How surprising for those of you who are just joining us, is this score. They're actually going for a field goal here. This is actually the first time they've kicked a field goal this season with Harry Vargas. And the kick is good. Well, there's a PAT for number 28, Harry Vargas, who's the main kickoff man for Lake Station, but he's been pretty good with PATs, and he gets one there. 29-0 with 0.9 seconds to go. We'll actually keep it here before the start of the fourth quarter, but
Yeah, just moving through the Tech Federal Credit Union red zone for the touchdown. And this Lake Station team is serious, but
yeah,
we talk
really
about
are.
sectionals, and that sectional, we mentioned sectional, the 2A sectional for both of these teams. Sectional 33 features Bremen, who's 5-2. Boone Grove, obviously, standing 3-3 currently. Rensselaer at 5-2, who's probably going to go 6-2 tonight. And Wheeler, undefeated Wheeler, 6-0. And Dran, obviously, 6-1, with their only loss coming against 5A Maryville and Whiting. And so that's a pretty competitive sectional.
Yeah, both of these teams already beat Whiting this year.
Yep.
And we actually saw Wheeler in the opening week of the season. At least I was on the call for that game. And Wheeler played South Central, and they were already up by 50 at halftime. So that team is no joke. They're 6-0, like you mentioned.
Yep. And that's a team that's averaging 41.5 points a game and only giving up 8 on defense. And so there's a lot of opportunity here for an Dran team who obviously plays a bit tougher schedule in the NCC, but their offense is averaging 27 points and defense giving up 11 a game.
On the return, Jack Neiman gets past the 30, and that will end the third quarter with Lake Station in a commanding position here. 29-0 lead.